Hello, everyone. I am Jerome Martin, and welcome to the Light Ship Chronicles. This series is dedicated to the Guardians and their light ship technology. So, in this series, I'm going to be interviewing a series of guests, and we're going to be talking about different experiences in the light ship or things that helped me along my journey. My journey started in 2017 when I started being taken up into light ships by the Guardian group known as the Arcturians, where they started training me in metaphysical science. And so, specifically, what they began to show me was the development of my Merkaba and cellular telepathy. These allowed me to interact with them on higher dimensional levels, as well as communicate with them and the ship. And so, this whole development of my light body, this was also something that had to do with DNA conductivity. And one of the things that they showed me that would greatly assist me with the development of that conductivity is something known as ORMUS, or monoatomic gold. This material has had a great impact on the development of my consciousness and also my physical healing. This material is single atom quartz crystal that is in the noble metal class of elements on the periodic table, and these elements are no longer in a metallic state. They are in a crystalline quartz state, so your body can absorb them, and they make your nervous system conductive in a way that allows you to very easily shift your brain waves into the higher dimensional realms. And this has had such a great impact on me. And I had to take time out in the beginning to talk about this because my process with this work with the light ships and bringing other people into the ships is needed to be talked about with this ORMUS. This is the gateway or the keys for the ship. Without the conductivity, this stuff doesn't really happen very easily. And so that's sort of the backstory. We'll get more into it later. But today we're going to be interviewing Korey Nau. Korey Nau is from Star Echo Lowdown, and he is the owner of Liquid Light Codes. And Liquid Light Codes is an ORMUS company. Welcome, Korey. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jerome. Good to be here. Yeah, I had a great fascination for ancient cultures in my early teen years, just in regards to how they built the Great Pyramids of Giza and Machu Picchu and other various sites around the world. And I couldn't help but just fascinate and let my imagination drift on how they live their lives or the way they use these structures or their ceremonies or the things that they used in their lives and how they applied that to their view of the world, their culture, and being healthy, happy, well, and high vibrational. And you find a lot of stories in ancient cultures about them developing psychic powers or them opening up aspects of their consciousness, having a relationship with the earth, the stars, the plants that you don't see so much in our modern day language. And so through a fascination for ancient cultures, and especially Egyptian cultures, I came across ORMUS when I was about 20 years old and started applying it in my daily life and started noticing that there was a quickening in my development that I hadn't noticed before. And so it started me on the path of incorporating ORMUS in my life and having a desire to share it with the world.
So I just want to touch on Egypt for a second. So you're saying that the Egyptians used this in their daily life, all of them, or was it for a certain few? How did that work?
So it seems that Ormus was involved as a sacrament in Egyptian culture, and a way to understand it is that they called it their manna or their daily bread. And today we consider mana like energy or chi. And so it was an ability or a way that these monoatomic noble metals can saturate into the tissue in our bodies. Our cells have a natural place to receive this, and they increase our cellular conductivity. And they also act as small little batteries that help us store energy, chi, prana, in order to increase the amount of energy that our body can hold at any one moment in time. So they were using it as a way to assist in raising their vibration for their spiritual development.
Did they have a certain goal in mind when they were using this material? So they're raising their consciousness. Were they trying to achieve a certain state of consciousness, or was there a bigger picture, a goal that they were trying to achieve?
The ultimate attainment for the Egyptians was to activate their 12-stranded DNA and give birth to what's called your immortal body of light. And as your body is able to hold more energy, it is similar to how a house can run on 110 or 220 volts. And so you can't plug your washer and dryer into the same plug that you plug your toaster oven into because the electricity isn't strong enough in order to run that device. And so the Egyptians were using this as a way to increase the amount of prana or chi or electricity in their body to assist in feeding their immortal body of light and activating their 12 strands of DNA. This was their process of evolving their spirituality in their everyday life on a mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical level.
That resonates with me so strongly because, like I mentioned, with this light ship technology, as you're able to operate, the light ships are one thing, but your psychic faculties, your higher dimensional faculties that are dormant in those 12 strands, it takes a certain amount of energy to even power those. And if you don't have the proper conductivity or that battery, they don't function. And so a lot of these things that are innate within us, they come online once you have enough power to operate them. Like you said, if you don't have 220, a power line for that electricity, you're not able to power those different things. So that's really cool. So with the ORMUS, I know you've been taking this since you're 20. How has it affected you specifically?
So I was involved in martial arts and downhill ski racing and pushing my body to extremes. And so in skiing, your ability to hold an edge is your ability to manage your speed, your direction, and control your momentum. And so as your legs get weak, they start to shake, and that makes your edge clatter, which takes away your ability to control your edge. Long story short, I was able to hold my strength longer in my muscles, which was allowing me to perform more efficiently and hold strength in my muscles in order to perform better in not only the skiing, but also in martial arts. Martial arts is a lot about conditioning. And so holding poses to build core strength and to create strength in your connective tissue. And you'll notice that when you hold a static pose, that you'll start to shake or quiver as the strength or the neurological signal weakens in the muscle tissue. And so, as an athlete, I was noticing that I had more muscle longevity and that the innervation or the sturdiness of my muscle strength increased. And so, that and with my own spiritual development meditation practices, there was a way in which the energy was building that it wasn't before. It was almost like my body was only able to hold a certain amount of the energy I was collecting, and after a certain point, it just spilled over. And so the Ormus was a way that the meditation practices, the Qigong practices, the exercise, the sports, the energy was able to build in my body in a way that it wasn't able to before. And so this is part of what I talk about in regards to moving from 110 to 220 is your ability to build and maintain pranic pressure. And so as that energy was able to be maintained and held, I was running on a higher frequency on a 220 line more consistently. And it was allowing my faculties, my mind, my emotions, and my body all to heal and evolve at a faster rate.
Amazing. So for me, I'm also a martial artist, a martial arts instructor. And for me, something that I really notice besides the energies, doing Hapkido and the same thing with Qigong, we're harnessing that Qi power, that internal energy for techniques. But something else that I really recognized when I started supplementing the Ormus was that my reflexes or my reaction time was also increased, along with like the intuition. With martial arts, you're striking at each other, doing different things. It's almost like you are able to recognize things faster at a rapid rate. Have you noticed anything like that yourself?
Yeah, you actually hit on a topic in which there's many athletes that have been involving ORMUS in their practices due to the concept of conductivity and the speed in which a thought impulse from your mind can reach a muscle is the rate in which your muscle can respond to your thought. And so this conductivity increases not only the ability for electricity to move through your body with more grace, which mucosal plaques, scar tissue, adhesion patterns, all slow down the ability for electricity to move through your soft tissue with grace. And so you'll get less organ function with less neurological innervation or less electricity making it to all of the tissue in the organ. And so with this thinking, the government had actually done many studies on ORMUS being a superconductor under cold conditions. And it is highly conductive naturally in its own right, which has been starting to be moved into agricultural practices around electrical conductivity and how the roots absorb nutrients. But this concept of conductivity in regards to reaction time, and also your brain works on the electrical signals being able to move through the hemispheres of the brain, which a lot of people have looked into the left and right hemispheres of the brain operating in a more balanced way, not one dominating the other. And there's been research done on ORMUS assisting in creating more balanced hemispherical operational activity in the mind. And so all of this moves to greater reaction time in martial arts, the ability to access thought. Might be some interesting things to look around, even in regards to dementia in ORMUS and future studies. But very interesting concepts in regards to conductivity, how the brain operates on its ability to conduct electricity through the hemispheres, in addition to how organs function on electricity, glands for hormonal balance receive their messages through the electricity that's conducted from the brain. And so these are all systems that could be being impacted through the lack of our conductivity, and that possibly ORMUS could assist in supporting those functions.
I love all of this so much. It's just hitting home so hard for me. So ORMUS not only has helped me develop myself consciously, has helped me heal physically, but now that I use it in my practice, right? I train people in metaphysical science where I'm constantly bringing people up in light ships or activating DNA, and it's greatly helped me in my practice because it has helped me when you're saying that the hemispheres of the brain, how they synchronize, and then you get greater brain function. For me, it's greatly assisted me in the ability to shift my brain waves in a waking conscious state from alpha and beta into theta and gamma, which are necessary to enter into these higher dimensions. I also, recommend it to all of my clients that are starting to develop themselves and their light bodies because it really helps develop the Merkaba and really charge the energy channels that are needed for these functions. How specifically has this helped you in your daily practice?
So I trained martial arts and did a lot of skiing and hurt myself in both of them many times, and that led me to chiropractic care that really helped me out a lot. With chiropractic care, I prefer NUCA and the activator method, more gentle forms of chiropractic with less macroscopic movements. But I created a system of science in order to assist people in maintaining their adjustments through their daily use of their body. And through massage therapy and a background in exercise science, I created a system called bioarchitecture. This works with how we support our body in space. As gravity puts stress through our body, it creates wear and tear patterns. As our posture is collapsing or becoming less optimal, we end up creating wear and tear patterns that don't serve us. This posture usually ends up becoming a pattern of a distortion due to muscular weakness. And so I address different areas of strength in the body. And so in my practice, as I've been working with different clients and developing this strength, having inconsistent neurological signal will create a shaky pattern in that person's ability to hold that position. So when you are holding a position and your arm or leg starts shaking, that is usually a expression of unoptimal neurological flow. So in chiropractic, which I usually work with chiropractors in my work, after we knew that there's subluxation, which is the impingement from the bone on the nerve, is freed up. And as a massage therapist, I free up any entrapment from soft tissue. Then sometimes the nerve still doesn't have proper neurological flow. And so building up the ability for our tissue to be conductive is what allows that electricity to allow our muscles to trigger and support us and be strong and perform their function. So as my clients were using ORMUS, I noticed that their ability for their muscles to hold a position with strength and the time before it became shaky would start to progress at a more rapid rate with hydration, exercise, getting rid of their soft tissue and hard tissue subluxations. The ORMUS allowed them to retain a stronger neurological signal and maintain that strength in a faster way.
Awesome. So I got a question for you. Have you ever seen that story about that cat named Tut that this woman had, and a shed collapsed on this kitten and cut its tail off? And the story is that she had given it Ormus every day. She was using it as like a lotion, and the cat was licking the Ormus off of her arms. And then over a series of months, this is all documented on the internet, that they showed that the cat's tail grew back. The bones, the cartilage, the ligament, the fur, all of it grew back. And there's, documentation about how Ormus has the ability to, create stem cells in at a rapid rate and can lead to regeneration. I've never experienced something as prolific as that, but I've just noticed that it's helped me heal. Have you seen that story at all?
I haven't seen that story, but if you look into the Egyptian culture, they call Ormus the food of the gods because it gives us the power of the gods. Now, it was part of their mystery schools left and right eye Horus that ended up having a progression system through the Nile that Ormus was a instrumental part of, and Ormus would, according to their mythos, give you the power of gods. And so I could very well see where that story would end up, coming from their background and their beliefs. And when you end up having something that makes you more conductive, there is a level of cellular division that relates to conductivity in cells communicating properly. And so you start to get where science hasn't proven yet, but when cells can communicate more clearly or have less errors in transcription, there might be increased healing benefits.
So what you're saying is that the increase in the conductivity enhances the communication between the cells and the DNA, and that can have an effect on the healing of the body?
And maybe science hasn't caught up to being able to track all that yet, but it's a fun thought in regards to how these things could be benefiting us. And certainly these things haven't been rooted in ancient cultures for this many thousands of years and brought so intimately into it for no reason. And so I'm really excited as these different topics have become a being explored in our modern day cultures. These ancient cultures didn't have the way in order to explore these things in the way that we do today. And so part of all of this is to inspire more research and to get people more excited about adopting this in their daily life and to see what our culture finds out about it as it takes root.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've heard you say this before, but it always rings bells in my ears. It's about bringing ancient technology into having a modern purpose, and I just think it's awesome that not only the Egyptians, or it's been sort of talked about in biblical texts, or even the ancient alchemists of the 15th, 16th centuries. The idea of the Ormus is not only known as mufkuts in Egypt, or mana, they call it shamana, or it's been known as the philosopher's stone. And it's interesting that the Ormus itself, it's a bunch of noble metals, right, broken down into a single atom crystal. And everyone thought that the philosopher's Philosopher's Stone was some stone that could turn, lead into gold, but really they weren't turning lead into gold. They were just turning metal gold into this powder gold that they called the Stone of Projection and things like that. So it's so awesome that there's all this ancient history or these ties that make this stuff so special. So tell me a little bit about Liquid Light Codes, about your company, your brand.
So in the spirit of getting ORMUS out to the world and to explore more of what this does for everybody and share the blessing that it's been in both of our lives, um, we have a company, Liquid Light Codes, and we have a affiliate link here working with uh, the Conscious Awakening Network. Sorry about that. A lot in my head at the moment. And there's a discount code there in the marketplace. But we have this beautiful bag, and I wonder if it can be seen or if it's getting thrown off here. There you go, Liquid Light Codes here. And we have a very high vibrational ORMUS product ready in order to share with the world. And so this has, in the heart and spirit of ancient cultures, has been programmed for raising our vibration and moving the world into higher vibrations and dimensions. And so that is our product that we have going on, and it is made in the traditional methodology of the ancient cultures called the wet method, and it's made with love and in a family-owned business. And we're excited to be bringing it to Conscious Awakening Network and also bringing it to Conscious Life Expo. If anybody will be there, you'll be able to see us and having a booth there then.
So, what are the benefits of liquid light codes of ORMUS? I know we talked about how it's helped us, but what are the general benefits? So, someone that's never taken this before or might not have the same backgrounds that we have, what are some ways that it affects you?
So the framework that this is getting brought into an educational system that is being brought forward at the moment by me is that when we have greater amounts of electricity, not only can we empower our higher faculties, but also our emotional trauma is requiring a certain amount of electricity in order to purge or to release or to assimilate or to transmute and to evolve that into the wisdom that it is there to serve in our development. And so this ORMUS has been being brought forward as a way for your body to increase the amount of electricity that your body can store to help transmute what needs to be transmuted so that we can exist at a higher frequency. Also, it's imbued, these monatomic crystal elements are very uh, influenced by suggestion. They take on frequency very easily and transmit frequency very easily. And so by programming with the intent for higher vibration and spiritual development and progression for the highest good of all, it has a ability to raise our vibration, increase the electricity, and also kickstart this development process in our own daily life. And so it's designed as a kickstart to our own spiritual, physical development in order to let go and purge what needs to be purged in order to evolve and assimilate what needs to be evolved and assimilate, and to provide the electrical pranic pressure and electricity that you need to evolve in the way that you're looking forward to.
Beautiful. Yeah. And so, those of you that, when you hear electrical conductivity, how that can affect your physical body is that leads to better memory, reflexes, cognitive function, things like that, are, ways that it'll support your system. So, Corey, where do we get the ORMUS?
Oh, as mentioned earlier, it'll be at liquidlightcodes.com. You can see us there. And there's an affiliate link you can see for a discount at the Conscious Awakening Network Marketplace. We're looking forward to seeing you there.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure, Corey. Thank you so much for your time today, and I will see you in the future. Once again, anyone that's interested, you can go to the marketplace for the Conscious Awakening Network, and you can receive a discount code through that portal. And if anyone's going to the Conscious Life Expo, Corey will have a booth there. So come
We'll
on
see you
down.
there.
Thank you, Corey. Have a great day.
You're welcome, Jerome. Thank you very much.
And I'll see you guys next time on the next episode of the Light Ship Chronicles. Blessings and gratitude.